Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We're halfway through the year, so today I'm going to give you guys my picks for the 10 best movies of this year so far. So this year has been a much better year for movies compared to last year. We've had a lot of movies come out, plus the ones that were delayed from last year, so we have a lot of good ones to talk about. Before I give you guys my favorite movies, tell me down below in the comments, what are your favorite movies from 2021? I'd love to know your thoughts. With that said, let's get started with some honorable mentions. First off, we have Army of the Dead. Now, I thought this was a great zombie movie from Zack Snyder. I really enjoyed it. There's some great action, some great twists and turns, and it was just a lot of fun. Next up, In the Heights. Now, I thought this was a really solid musical. In general, I'm not into musicals, so this is not my favorite movie of the year like it was for a lot of other people, but I still really enjoyed it. I liked the story, characters, and there were some really catchy songs. So I personally really enjoyed it. Next up is gonna be Crack. Now, I thought this was a nice cop story with some cool action scenes. It was really funny. I liked the story. It was fast paced. So for the most part, I enjoyed it. Next up is F9. F9 was a really fun movie. I know a lot of people hated it, but I thought it was a lot of fun. It was really funny. I liked the characters quite a bit. There's some big explosive action sequences, which were a lot of fun. And I know it's dumb, but that's what I enjoyed it for. So it's one of my honorable mentions. And finally, we have Fatherhood. I thought this was a sweet little story about, well, fatherhood. I like the cast. I like the story quite a bit, and it doesn't have too high ambitions, so it's able to reach them, and it delivered on exactly what I wanted it to. Alright, so those are my honorable mentions, so now let's go into my top 10. Kicking off my list is going to be Luca. Now, I thought Luca was a small-scale, fun little Pixar animated movie. Usually, Pixar tries to swing for the fences, but this one doesn't. It tries to just be a small-scale movie about friendship and acceptance, and I enjoyed that about it. I really enjoyed the characters. I thought Luca and Alberto were really good. The animation style is great, just like pretty much every other Pixar movie. The story, like I said, very small scale, but it still does a good job incorporating the themes and telling a story that makes sense, and I personally really enjoyed this film. And number 9 is Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It. Now, I personally really like this movie. I know a lot of people were disappointed, but I personally really enjoyed it. I thought it had some cool moments. It had a very unsettling tone, and that made me really enjoy the film. It isn't as scary as the first two, but it still delivers on what you'd expect from a Conjuring movie. I really like our main two characters, so whenever they're going on this journey and investigating stuff, that's really enjoyable in my opinion. And this one is much different compared to the other two movies. The other two are just haunted house stories, but this one has like a court case and like a trial behind it, and I really enjoyed how it tried to do something different than just rehash the original two movies. It's not the best of the trilogy, but it's still a solid new entry in the franchise. Next up is Wrath of Man. Now, I thought this was a great action movie starring Jason Statham. I really liked the direction of the movie. The action scenes are really good. It was much darker than I was expecting it to be, so I thought that made the movie even better. The villains I thought were pretty good. I liked the story, and it was structured pretty well, and for the most part there was also a lot of emotion from behind our main character. I like how it all plays out, and by the end of it, it has a very satisfying conclusion. So I thought this was a really good action movie. Next up is Nobody. Now, I thought Nobody was a really good action movie that was very entertaining, a lot of fun, and there's a lot of cool moments throughout. There's some great fight sequences. I thought Bob Odenkirk was great as our main character, and it feels like John Wick, but it also differentiates itself because the action scenes are much different compared to John Wick. I also never thought I would have wanted to see Christopher Lloyd just shoot a bunch of guys. The only thing I've seen him before was in Back to the Future, but seeing him here just shooting a bunch of guys, that was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. And the movie just delivers on what you want. Number 6 is Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, Godzilla vs. Kong is just a big, dumb monster movie, and for what it was so much fun. I've rewatched this movie quite a bit, and every time I saw it, it was just so entertaining. The big monster scenes are so much fun. They're shot really well. The action is done pretty well, and most of it's very visible. Most of it is done in daylight, so you could see what's going on, unlike some of the other MonsterVerse movies where it's done in dark, so you can barely see what's happening. The CGI is all really great. I enjoyed how everything played out by the end of it. Story-wise, it's not the best movie, but it's so entertaining that I was able to forgive that and put it in my top 10. I also thought like the last 35-40 minutes of the movie was some of the most fun I've ever had in a movie this year. Kicking off my top 5 is going to be The Tomorrow War. Now, this was the most surprising movie I've seen this year. It does a great job with almost everything. I thought the cast and characters were really good. Chris Pratt, J.K. Simmons, Yvonne Strahovski, all of them were great in their roles. I really loved the action sequences. The stakes were really high throughout the entire movie, and whenever the monsters were on screen, it was thrilling, entertaining, and so much fun. And I also thought the story was quite good, and themes involved about family and all of that just worked really well in the context of this movie. I thought the relationships between the characters were developed very well, and by the end of it, everything just pays off and has a nice happy ending. And even though some of the time travel logic is a bit off, for the most part, it just works really well, and I thought it was one of the best movies of the year so far. Number 4 is going to be The Mitchells vs. the Machines. This is a Netflix animated movie that just delivered on everything I wanted. I didn't know what this movie was about. I saw a lot of great reviews, so I checked it out, and it ended up being amazing. The voice cast is great, the story is quite good, I really enjoy the characters, and the themes explored about coming together as a family is just great. The movie also has a big, insane plot about a robot apocalypse, and it's executed in a really funny manner, but when it's actually happening, it's done so well that you can take it seriously in the context of this movie. I also thought the animation style was really unique and different, and it worked really well. Kind of reminded me of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but I just thought it was done in a unique way from the perspective of our main character, so when you're watching it, you're basically in the main character's head. So yeah, this was another one of the biggest surprises of this year. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's one of the best animated films of the year so far. And number 3 is Raya and the Last Dragon. To me, this was the best animated movie of the year so far. I loved the action scenes. It's some of the best action I've seen in any animated movie. The main characters were all great. The villain was amazing, and I just really enjoyed the energetic and exciting feel the movie had. The animation style is beautiful, and it's, I think, one of the best Disney movies I've ever seen. It also explores some important themes about unity, and it's executed really well in the movie, and I thought it had a beautiful ending the way it ended off. So I think this is one of the best movies of the year so far. Our runner-up is going to be A Quiet Place Part 2. I love the first Quiet Place movie, and I think this one is even better. It's very thrilling. I love the characters, the cast, and Cillian Murphy as a new character in the movie was amazing. I think this one is just a perfect sequel. It expands the world really well. It shows how the rest of the world is dealing with the apocalypse and the scenario going on in the film. And it just does it in a way that makes sense, feels like a proper continuation of the first movie, and it's executed in a beautiful way. The movie also handles like a bunch of different plot lines at the same time, and the way they're intercut, the way John Krasinski does it, it's really well done, because usually it feels convoluted in other movies, but this one, it just feels like one great story, and I loved the way it was done. It's also very gripping, exciting, and also has a lot of high stakes, so that made me enjoy the movie even more. Hey guys, there's about to be a little shift in lighting. I'm really sorry about that. That's because I recorded this next part at a later time. So I'm really sorry. I tried my best to keep it the same, but it didn't work. But coming in at first place easily for me is Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think this is easily the best movie of the year so far. I absolutely love this movie. I think it's one of the best comic book movies of all time and easily the best DCEU movie. When 2017's Justice League came out, most people were disappointed and I was disappointed too. And when I saw this movie, I just thought this is much better than the 2017 version because it does so many things much better than that version does. It gives every single character much more development. Every character is explored much better compared to the 2017 version, to the point that which even Steppenwolf gets development, and there's a few moments where you even care about him and understand where he's coming from. The action is much better, the visual style is much cooler, and the aesthetic of the movie is impressive. The movie also pays off really well by the end of it, and the team actually feels like a team. I still can't believe that this wasn't the version that we got back in 2017 because this movie is by far the best version of Justice League. So yeah, this movie just delivered on everything I wanted. Action, characters, story, and the world building. So this is my favorite movie of the year so far. So yeah guys, those are my favorite movies of this year. Be sure to comment down below your favorite movies of this year and what are your thoughts on my favorites. And also, if you enjoyed my ranking, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want more content like this. I'll see you next time. Bye.